is part of the Baby It's Cold Outside open playlist, and I'll give you a little bit more information about it after the first project. Project number 1 is a Rustic Snowflake. I have some ribbon from Dollar Tree and these 3 love signs, also from Dollar Tree. The snowflake I actually purchased from Habitat for Humanity Restore, but I researched the name, and it's actually a Lowe's brand. So if you go to Lowe's and put in Hampton Art Craft Me, you should see if they have any craft kits or anything like that. They don't keep them in store from what I understand, but they are available online. So to start things off, we're going to create a sign to mount the snowflake on, since I did not have one that was big enough. The snowflake also comes with a paint stencil, which I'm going to use to put the words "Let It Snow." I'm taking off the little green wreaths, definitely saving those for later, and I just hit it with my heat gun and then scrape the remaining glue and green stuff off. Then I'm preparing the sign by removing the hanging ropes and the price tags. I'm going to give it a quick sand, and then I'm going to hit it with some lightweight spackle. And this spackle did such a good job on the sign. You totally cannot tell it's 3 pieces when all is said and done. Now the snowflake had a little, I guess it got bumped on one of the end pieces there, so I put some spackle on there as well. I stenciled "Let It Snow," but I did not get that on camera. And I also hot glued the edges of the signs, and I did not get that on camera either. Now I'm going to put supports on the sign to keep it together, and I do that with some scrap paint stir stick pieces, and I use a mixture of Elmer's wood glue and hot glue. You notice I start at the top, and then I go side to side to side to side, and then all the way across at the bottom there. And that's just to give it as much support as possible. Now I'm going to rub in more lightweight spackle, and I set it aside and let it dry before I went ahead with the rest of the project. Then I sanded it, and it didn't look sanded, but it felt nice and smooth, so I went ahead with the painting. I had these cool little triangle pieces to set your project up off your desk for painting, and then I hit it with my dark gray paint. I want to say elephant, but it's Waverly. And I gave it a good thick coat. And then I was going to keep it smooth and do a ribbon border, but at the last minute I changed my mind and decided to do it more rustic, in keeping with the rustic nature of the snowflake. So I poured a whole bunch of school glue on there, and I just used a chip brush or chippy brush to spread it. And the paint wasn't totally wet, but not totally dry either. And then I decided, since there's so much glue, that I was just going to set down the snowflake. But then I started painting it, and I was like, ugh. I had to use a small paintbrush and get it in all the nooks and crannies, and I didn't like how it was looking. It just looked too messy. So I bit the bullet and just popped it right off. And there's like this really weird suction noise when I pulled it off the glue. But there's wood glue on there, So I tried not to brush over the wood glue, and then I just sat it back down again after I was done with the white paint. Now I'm coming in with my heat gun to bring out the crackle. And you can see it slowly starts to crackle more and more. I'm holding the snowflake down into the glue while I move the heat gun over the edges. I have this white burlap. I think they call it a ribbon, but it's really just kind of like a roll of burlap. My camera cut off right at the end here, so I will give you a better look at the final reveal. Jumping in with a little bit more information about the playlist. Amanda from Six Kids and Glue Gun, Chantal from Crafty Hints, and Brenda from Rustic Lace DIY take turns hosting and co-hosting this first of the month playlist. Their channel links, as well as a link to the playlist, will be in my description box below. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. Project number 2, Winter Houses. I have these 2 live signs that I purchased from Dollar Tree. I have a thing about house shapes, so this is just feeding my addiction, if you will. Now, my first choice was to try and remove the letters using acetone, and it actually worked. I was prepared to try different things, but the houses are kind of laminated, some kind of lamination, and so it was easy to use the acetone to rub off the letters. Now, while I was doing that, I wasn't really paying attention, and I rubbed some of the black from the letters onto the wood beads. So I decided to come in with some burnt umber and a Jam Baby wipe and just darken the beads a little bit so that the black didn't show. And I did that for all the beads. Now I'm going through my letters, the little box that I purchased from Dollarama while I was in Canada. And it has a lot of each letter. So I have a feeling it's going to last me a while. I picked up the letters for winter. And I liked the size with the house shape, so I continued on. Here I'm just sort of twisting and pulling. I only need 2 houses from this second grouping. It's 4 houses each. And I was actually surprised that there was such a thick metal rod holding them together. So if I had to do it again, I'd probably use a wood skewer. But here you see me using just some wire. And full disclosure, it did not hold very well. I put the wire through the 2 houses, and then just a small bit I poked into the last bead there. And I notice it's kind of flimsy, and I'm picking it up with 2 hands, so just be aware. You could even just separate all the houses and just have them loose. I'm sure the kids would love that. You could mess around with it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and paint the letters. And I'm trying to go for a neutral color, so I didn't want to do like a stark black in any of these projects. So I'm using that dark gray again, and I really like how it came out. I hit it with my heat gun before handling it. And then off camera, I made a whole bunch of bows. The gray ribbon, I did awareness shape bows, and then with the twine, I did like a finger bow, like you would make a tassel. I wrapped it around 3 fingers, about 5 or 6 times, and then just tied it in the middle. I didn't do any greenery or florals on this one. I thought that would be a little bit too much. But I do like how it looks with the little bows on top. And of course, off camera, I attached those letters. I was tapping record, but I wasn't holding my finger down long enough, so I thought I was recording when it was just sitting there. But better look at the final reveal. Project number 3 is a winter snowman. I'm using the most recent Truck Couture mailing because I belong to the club that gets a stencil and some chalk paste packets every month. This month they included a cutout, and I'm using a Dollar Tree sign bling to chalk onto. Again, I have squeegees that I've cut in half. Anything to save a little bit of money, because Truck Couture can get expensive, and you can certainly get other stencils from Temu or Amazon. And also, Walmart has some really nice paint stencils, like for snowmen and stuff. So, don't feel like because I'm using Truck Couture that it's too expensive and you can't do it, because there is a lot of other options available. Now, I stared at this stencil. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do it dark background and light chalk paste, or light background and dark chalk paste. So in the end, this is what I decided, even though I kept staring at it after I had done it, because I still wasn't 100% sure, you know. It's like I couldn't wrap my head around it. I came in with my heat gun to make sure everything was nice and dry before I started chalking. And I do go ahead and trim the bottom to get that copyright information off there, because I don't want that on my sign. And I also trim the edges there so it'll fit in between the frame, and the stencil will sit nice and flat. So I decided to do the cutout part first, and because it's more involved, I just wanted to get it over with. I decided, even though I'm doing like winter neutral this video, I want a little bit of color on the snowflake. So I did go through my paste packets and found some like red, orange, green, and then I had a tub of the black paste. I actually redid the green part because I didn't like how it turned out the first time, so I like washed and dried the stencil and did the green again, and it still wasn't, you know, I don't know, it just didn't look like it had clean edges or something. So after the second time I just left it. But here, this is me coming in with the different colors. Got the orange there for the little carrot nose. And I put some red there for the berries, but it wasn't meant to be colored in. Like, it's just weird sometimes. I can't wrap my head around what's going to be colored in and what's going to be blank. All right, so got that done, set it aside to dry, and I came in with my white and just like globbed a whole bunch of white on. And then once the whole thing was covered in white, I did go back with my squeegee and scrape off the excess, because you don't really need it thick to get a good result. There's the reveal. I was going to wipe the edges near the borders, but with that kind of paint, it just wasn't coming off, so I just left it. Hot glued over where the snowman was and just popped that little cutout down. Now I'm making a awareness shape bow. And I decided, like with the snowflake, I want a little bit of greenery. So everything has like bows or greenery in this video. And I initially did the, oh gosh, I don't remember what the first one was called, but it wasn't popping. So I'm coming in with eucalyptus leaves. See that? 3 times fast. And then I popped the bow on top. I trimmed it, dovetailed it actually. And I really, really love how this came out. It's my favorite. And I'll give you a better look at it during the final reveal.